everybody who is watching us live, our partners, our media colleagues, and a special shout out to all the Me fans who are sitting in this room. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We have more than 1,400 Me fans in this hall, in this stadium, and this is probably our biggest ever launch event. I've been told we have fans coming from all across the country, from north, west, east, and south. One of the Me fans walked up to me and told me that he even traveled more than 20 hours on train to attend this launch event. So thank you so much, guys. Okay, so my name is Manu. I'm very fortunate to lead the coolest and the most loved technology brand in the country. Now, before we start, these are some of the hashtags that we're using for today. 5 of them. So if you're tweeting live or if you're posting on social media, please use all of them or at least one of them. Okay, so let's get started. This is a very special moment for us. We just completed 5 years in India. And hence we have, thank you. And hence we have 5 surprises planned for all of you guys. 5 surprises. Now, in these 5 years, we have sold 100 million smartphones till date only in India. 100 million smartphones means we have sold 20 million smartphones every single year, 1.6 million smartphones every single month, and more than 50,000 smartphones every single day during this last 5 years. So thank you so much, guys, for making this happen. We recently launched 2 new smartphones, Redmi 8A and Redmi 8. Redmi 8A has a lot of new things in this particular price segment. 5000 mAh battery, 18-watt fast charge support, Gorilla Glass 5, P2i nano coating, wireless FM radio, and an amazing, incredible device. And we have let go of 2GB, 16GB, and we are starting with 2GB, 32GB, and 3GB, 32GB at 649 and 6999. And last week, we launched Redmi 8, the elder brother, which had all these amazing things and was priced at 7999 for the 4GB, 64GB. And while we have been launching these smartphones, but of course, all of you guys know that we are more than a smartphone company. We are an IoT company, we are an ecosystem company, and last month we launched 4 new IoT ecosystem products. Mi Smart Water Purifier, Mi Smart TVs, Mi Soundbar, and of course something that all of you guys were asking for, which is Mi Band 4. Mi Smart Water Purifier was a product which was designed in India for India. This model does not exist anywhere else in the world. It has been designed to keep in mind the needs of Indian consumers, given power shortage and water shortage. And Mi Smart TVs, we launched 4K TVs above 43-inch. So even at 43-inch, now we are able to offer 4K panel to all our Mi fans. And all these products were available during our Diwali sale, which started a few weeks ago. Now this was really incredible because we had beaten the best ever brand in Diwali sale, incidentally which happened to be Xiaomi last year. We sold a whopping 5.3 million units during our first wave, week 1, 5.3 million units, out of which 3.8 million was smartphones, more than 1 million smart IoT devices, ecosystem products, and more than 2.5 lakh of our smart TVs. This means we had sold more than 500 products every single minute during this wave, and we grew a whopping 50% year on year. So thank you so much, everybody. Now, the first product of the first surprise that we have planned for today is an ecosystem product, and this is something which is truly special and very dear to my heart. And this is a very big problem, and problem that will only increase in this period, which is winters. And that problem is air pollution. In fact, if you look at the 20 most polluted cities in the world, 14 of them are in India. 1.4. And not just this, this air pollution increases even further during the winter season. I have an example of AQI index in Delhi NCR. As you can see in Q1, which is end of winters, the air pollution is high. It continues to come down in Q2, is probably the lowest in Q3 when it is the rainy season. And in Q4, which is October, November, December, the beginning of winter season, it dramatically increases a lot more. And this is the average, guys, average across entire NCR during that particular period. To solve this problem, we have already launched 2 air purifiers till now, Me Air Purifier 2 and 2S, which were launched in 2016 and 18. And today we are launching a new air purifier, which has been again designed in India for India, which does not exist anywhere else in the world. And we are calling this as Me Air Purifier 2C. And to introduce this product, let me show you a quick. So this air purifier, Me Air Purifier 2C, it has been designed for India. It has a dual filtration technology. It has a HEPA filter, which can clean up to 99.97% of indoor pollution. And it has an incredible CADR, clean air delivery rate of 350 cubic meter per hour. A really, really great device for Indian conditions. And this product we are launching at only rupees 6,499. So this is Me Air Purifier 2C. You can start buying it today, which is at 4 o'clock on me.com. And in just few days, from day after tomorrow, it will be available across Amazon, Flipkart, Me Home stores, and will be available across all our offline stores. Now, that was the first surprise or first product for today. Now, Xiaomi is a smartphone company. Xiaomi is an IoT company. Xiaomi is also an internet company. And we have our own operating system called as MIUI, and we're launching the next version of it. And to talk more about this, let me call on stage my colleague, Mr. Murli, who is the COO for India business.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manu. And wow, look at all of you. This is an awesome experience. Fantastic. My name is Murli Krishnan, and I run operations for Xiaomi in India. And today, I'm here to talk about something that's very, very special to all Mi fans, which is MIUI, Xiaomi's own custom Android experience. But first, some really interesting numbers. Did you know that there are 80 million monthly active users on MIUI? 80 million, 8 crore Mi fans using MIUI any given month. And if that's not an awesome enough number, did you know that 80 million number accounts for 20% of all internet users in India in any given month? 1 in 5 internet users is using MIUI in India, and that is truly awesome. MIUI has had a long legacy. We've been at it for about 4-5 years now, starting version 7. We've been customizing, adding many features that are relevant to Indian users, and we have the last version which is MIUI 10. And today, it is my privilege to introduce the next evolution of MIUI in India. Thank you. MIUI 11. I'll talk about what it has in store for you in terms of design, what it has in store for you to make your work life more productive, and what it has in store for you to make your daily life, your personal life, a lot more easier, a lot more exciting. Let's talk about design first. In MIUI 11, we have taken a huge, big step forward in cleaning up many of the elements of the UI to ensure that the content and the features are the heroes. We've removed and eliminated and polished a whole lot of colors to give this entire look and make it look like a lot more organic, a lot more natural. And with all of these changes, MIUI is designed clearly to be the ultimate full screen experience. But that's not all. With the increasing popularity of dark mode, trust me, MIUI 11 looks even better on the dark side. Thank you. The next aspect of MIUI that I want to talk about is that it's always on. Always on for the always on generation. Isn't it a little bit unfortunate that all phones pretty much look the same when they are locked? All phones, they look the same when they're locked. It's just a black screen. With the Redmi K20 series, we did something interesting. We added clock styles to make that phone look a little bit exciting. With MIUI 11, we're taking that one step further. We are adding a nice, beautiful, animated, dynamic clock on your lock screen with MIUI 11. But that's not all. We said there's perhaps more that we can do. And for that, we dug deep into our childhood for inspiration. Remember these? The kaleidoscopes? We took exactly this for inspiration and we put this wonderful, beautiful, symmetric patterns onto your lock screen, and it actually makes it blossom and it looks beautiful. And you can customize this and have multiple patterns adorning your lock screen. But there are those who want it even more personalized. We said, sure, let's satisfy them too. With MIUI 11, you can add your own custom code, your motivational message, pretty much whatever you want, and add it to your lock screen. And my personal favorite will always be "No Me Without You." Thank you. So there you have it. MIUI, always on for the always on generation, just the way you want it. Moving on, we've also reimagined the notification light. And you do realize that a lot of high-end phones of late have done away with the notification light. But our Mi fans, our Mi users, have given us feedback that they truly like it, they appreciate it, it serves a functional purpose. So with the Redmi K20 series, we introduced it, but we introduced it in a very innovative way because it's a full screen. There is no space for a notification light. We put it on the top where the pop-up camera is, and people said, yeah, that's nice, that's cool. But there was still scope to make this even more exciting. So with MIUI 11, we've made the entire screen breathe and come alive for notifications. And this is clearly amongst the most beautiful, aesthetically the most pleasing things that I have seen in MIUI 11. Moving on from the lock screen, let's come to the wallpaper carousel. This is something that we have done in partnership with the team at Glance, where we have a different image adorning your lock screen every time you light it. Typically, your lock screen has the same image every time, which perhaps is not the best in terms of personalization. So what we have done in partnership with the Glance team is to add the ability to have a different image appear on your lock screen. It is curated. You can set your preferences on what kind of images that you'd want to see. Some people might want cars, some people might want actors, some people might want sports. So you can choose the preferences, and every time a different image appears. Did you know that the average user lights up their phone? I'm not saying unlock, but just lights up the phone 200 times a day. So which effectively means that 200 times you would see a different image of where you have set the preference adorning your lock screen, and that is super cool. We've been testing this for about a few months now, and today we have over 2 billion images being served on various lock screens for our users' preferences, and that number is growing by leaps and bounds. Thank you. Moving on from the lock screen, the next big aspect of personalization is the desktop. It's the wallpaper. And a lot of you know that MIUI has an extremely popular Themes app. This Themes app has a collection of over 1 lakh desktop wallpapers for the smartphone, which perhaps makes it amongst the largest collection of smartphone wallpapers in India. Of course, these are static wallpapers. What if you could add a little bit of excitement to it? So we've done just that with dynamic wallpapers for MIUI. This is good, but it's not enough. What if you could take this to the next level and make this the ultimate personalization tool, the ultimate expression of your personality? With MIUI 11, we have introduced dynamic video wallpapers. You can take pretty much any video that you want. Thank you. You can take pretty much any video that you want. It could be your family members, it could be a friend, it could be a child, it could be a pet, it could be a significant live event. You pick up that video, set it as a video wallpaper. Every time you unlock your phone and get to your desktop, you have that video playing. For me, that is super ultimate feature in terms of personalization. So there you have it in terms of design. Clean, neat, minimal, sleek design. Always on for the always on generation. The wallpaper carousel and the video wallpaper. All of this makes MIUI the ultimate visual experience. Moving on. We sold over 100 million smartphones over the last 5 years, and a lot of our users, a lot of our Mi fans quite obviously use their phones in work situations. And therefore, we put on our thinking hat and tried to figure what else can we do to make their work life more productive. And the first part that I want to talk about is documents. We deal with them all the time, more specifically in work situations. You already know that we have a super popular file manager integrated into MIUI, where all the files of different file types are consolidated into one single app, and you can kind of look at them, copy them, move them, delete them, do everything. But the one consistent feedback that we have received on this is that it's very difficult to find the file that you want by typing the file name. It's super difficult, and we appreciate that. We understood it. So we said, if that's the feedback, we need to solve for it, and we did by having thumbnails of various files in the file manager, neatly categorized by file types. If you look at the tabs on the top, you have all PDF, Excel, PowerPoint, very, very neatly categorized and super easy to find, just as you would on your Windows or Mac laptops. But that's not all. In a work situation or in any situation, if you've taken the trouble of launching the file manager and finding the file that you want, you'd obviously want to view it. Typically what happens is, if it's a Word document, then when you click on that icon, it opens Microsoft Word on your phone, and then the other app has to launch. That's obviously a productivity drain. We said, sure, let's solve for that. With MIUI 11's file manager, you can preview any document within the comfort of the file manager without any additional app. And that's super efficient, that's super productive, that's super cool. Thank you. And this document viewer can support a multitude of file formats, be it PDF, Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations. A whole multitude of file formats are supported. You get the thumbnails, you click on them, you open, and boom, your work gets done. The next big part of feedback that we have received on MIUI is that, hey, you guys don't make it easy for me to manage my task list. You guys don't make it easy for me to manage my to-do list, and hence I'm forced to use another third-party app. We took that feedback to heart. We have solved it. With MIUI 11, you have the ability to manage your tasks better with the tasks functionality integrated into the Notes app. You can now add various tasks. You can add a due date to them. It gets automatically synchronized with your calendar and makes your entire work life a lot more productive, and you're able to focus on the things that need to get done right now. But that's not all. there are various moments when you think of something that needs to get done and you don't have the time to open the keyboard and type and so on. Very simple. You just have to swipe right from the top. You have the universal entry into the to-do list. You have the entire to-do list appearing there. You add your tasks, you add your due dates, and boom, your work gets done. But that's not all. Just solving for universal entry isn't going to be enough. There are times when you don't have the time to type. And hence, with tasks, we have added the ability to add voice tasks, where you can just record a voice, and the rest of it gets done as per the normal workflow of the task and to-do app. So that's how we are enabling you to get stuff done a lot more efficiently. Moving on to another feature that's very, very popular amongst Mi fans, which is the calculator. And we've put in some additional effort into making it more easier to use. And let me talk about a very interesting use case. Let's say you've been traveling to some place, and typically what you do, you record all your expenses, maybe in a Word document, in a text document, in your notes app, wherever it is. And at the end of the trip, you need to sum up exactly how much you have spent. That's a use case all of us have been through. Currently, when you toggle between the calculator and the notes app to keep checking the values and typing it into the calculator, that's super painful. We've solved this by introducing a floating calculator which appears as a picture-in-picture on top of any app. It could be the notes app, it could be a Word document, it could be a PowerPoint deck, it could be anything. We just make it so easy to complete your calculations, and this is extremely natural in terms of a use case, and it's coming to you with MIUI 11. And that's not all. The powerful MIUI calculator has 8 different calculators built in. You can calculate your age, in case you wanted a calculator to do that. You can calculate the number of days left for your next birthday, your EMIs, your body mass index, splitting the bill, 8 different functionalities, all built into our calculator. And all of these put together will make your work life a lot more productive. But what do we have in store for you to make your personal life easier, to make your daily life easier? The first one that we have introduced is the step tracker. We've realized with increasing focus on health and physical well-being, a lot of users track their daily activity as to the number of steps that they have traveled, etc., the number of calories that they have burned. And we've also realized that most people typically carry their smartphone with them throughout the day, unless you're sleeping. So we've built in a step tracker straight into MIUI 11. This would enable you to track the number of steps, the total distance traveled, the total calories, as well as whether you've met your step tracking goal for the day or not. And you have all the data trends for you to track whether you're becoming healthier and more active. And all of this is easily accessible by swiping right from the home screen in your app vault. That's the step tracker in MIUI 11. For our women users, we've added the ability to track your periods, to track your menstrual cycles. No more trying to remember when the next due dates are. It gets automatically synced into your calculator, into your calendar, and you know exactly what your dates are. All of this built into MIUI 11. But the one feature that all of us are really excited about is this, quick replies. And let's talk about a use case again. Let's say you're watching a video, right? And it's really an engaging video, and you receive an incoming call. Of course, the one question is whether you need to answer the call or not, but if it's from the boss, you better answer the call. And when you do take the call, you can take the call without exiting the video. Now, this could be a video, this could be a game, this could be anything that you're doing. You can continue watching that video while taking the call, which makes it really cool in terms of multitasking. But it's not just with calling that this works. Thank you. But it's not just calling that this works. The more common use case is when I'm watching a video and I receive a message. Typically what happens when you click on the notification, you exit that video, you exit the game, and you land up on that messaging app, and the entire flow is lost, right? Super painful if you're playing a game. Not anymore. With the MIUI Quick Replies feature, I'm playing a game or watching a video, I receive the notification, it opens a window, a small picture-in-picture with your messaging app. You can look at the message, you can respond to it, you can do pretty much whatever you want to without exiting the video or the game or whatever it is that you're doing, which truly makes this the ultimate in terms of multitasking. And the best part of the quick replies feature is that you can choose on which specific app this functionality needs to work. Maybe you're someone who loves social media, you're into videos and so on and so forth. You can say it's only on videos that this needs to work, not on some other app that you use more for work scenarios. So a quick recap of what MIUI has in store for you: a clean, sleek, elegant, minimalistic design, a wonderful array of features to make your work life more productive, and well thought through features to make your personal life more exciting. But that's not all that we have in MIUI. There are many more features which, given the constraints of time, I am unable to cover today. Please stay tuned to our social media channels. We'll continue introducing each of these features over the subsequent days and weeks, and I'm sure you'll love pretty much all of them. So that was MIUI, but I'm not done yet. I have one more super cool thing to talk about, and this pertains to languages. India, as you know, is a land of a multitude of languages, and each one of us at any point of time probably knows 2-3 languages and converses in all of them. However, when it comes to the internet, for various reasons, it's predominantly English-based. The thought that came to us is a lot of us think in our native language. I, for one, think in Tamil. And it's a lot more easier to converse and communicate in your native language, especially when you need to express an emotion. We said this needs a solution. So for the first time anywhere in the world, Xiaomi is launching a keyboard called Mint Keyboard. And we have done this in partnership with the super cool guys from the startup called Bobble, which is based here very much in Delhi NCR. Now, the Mint Keyboard supports English and 25 Indic languages. While the Mint Keyboard has all the bells and whistles of a regular keyboard, stuff like fonts, stuff like GIFs and stickers and swipe typing and so on, but there are two features that we are truly excited about. The first one of this is translation within transliteration. And let's talk about a use case. I'm trying to chat with my dad, and I'm typing in English, and I'm trying to tell him, "Very good news, Papa." Right? So if you notice, the typing is happening in English. The Mint Keyboard is configured to automatically not just transliterate it, but also translate that into Hindi, and it says, "Bahut acha samachar, Papa, thanks." And it also provides alternate suggestions in Hindi as well as English, and that makes it a super cool feature. Imagine the opportunities of clean, crisp communication this opens up across generations, courtesy this translation within transliteration feature in MIUI 11. And the other one, I think that deserves a bigger clap, guys. Thank you. The other cool feature is, look, no communication on the internet, especially on social media, is complete without an emoji to go with it. With the Mint Keyboard, we have built in the capability for real-time emoji suggestions that work not just with English, but also Hinglish. In this case, it says, "Bas bhai, padhai karni hai." And with padhai, you're automatically seeing books being shown as the emoji. So with this real-time emoji suggestions for Indic languages, and this works with Hindi too, the Mint Keyboard will suggest exactly the emoji that you want to express your emotion in that moment. The Mint Keyboard is currently available on the Google Play Store as well as on the Mi Get Apps Store. So there you have it. That's MIUI 11, where life gets easier. But I'm sure there's one question that's still on top of your minds, which is the dates. What is the rollout timetable? The MIUI 11 rollout will start pretty much now in 6 days, starting the 22nd of October with with the super popular Poco F1, K20, and a few of the other models that we have launched recently, and there'd be a staggered rollout going all the way up till December. However, we see a new phone out there that we haven't launched yet, the Redmi Note 8 Pro. But I know someone who can tell you a lot about that new phone. I'd like to welcome on stage the Uber gamer Anuj Sharma.
Thank you. Thank you, Murli. Wow, I can't wait for these days. I've got one, two, I think most of my devices are covered. Anyways, I'm Anuj, and I lead the marketing at Xiaomi India. But before I get started on this section, here's an interesting data bit. I don't know if you guys realize this. Murli's name, initials, are MKB. And you were seeing him in HD. All right. So moving from a really, really poor joke to an awesome series, I want to talk about the Redmi Note series. Now, the Redmi Note has been the flagship holder of our philosophy, which is innovation for all. Time and again, we brought in various flagship features to the series and ensured that more and more of our fans could enjoy this. In fact, recently we reached a landmark number when it came to Redmi Notes. We announced that globally we have now sold more than 100 million Redmi Notes. And most of you guys would agree that that's not really a surprise looking at the lineup that we've had right from the Redmi Note 3. Do you guys remember the Redmi Note 3? Right. Now that was a breakthrough product where it became the #1 selling smartphone in the online space. Very next year, the Redmi Note 4 actually became the best seller across all platforms, all channels. It was the #1 selling phone in India. All the way to, of course, the Redmi Note 7 series, which we announced earlier this year at the same place, hopefully with some of you guys who all were here at that time. I can't see this, you guys have to talk. Now, this device was loved across the world. In fact, not just our fans, we got some raving reviews from the media, pretty much calling this a game changer under 20,000 rupees. And going beyond India, just for the Note 7 series, we've sold more than 20 million units globally. Right? It continues to be a bestseller. It was one of the best-selling phones in the Diwali sales that Manu spoke about. In fact, the Note 7 series was the best seller on Flipkart. And today, we are taking one giant leap forward. Let me introduce to you the all-new Redmi Note 8 Pro. Now, we are super excited about the Redmi Note 8 Pro. We were so excited that we built this really long hashtag, 64 MP quad camera beast, right? And each of these things were equally important to me. In fact, how many guys are there who are really interested in photography? Can I hear them? Okay. So that's one side. Where my gamer friends at? Where the gamers? Yeah. Gamers are louder, right? The camera guys need to buck up, but we've got a brilliant set here. And what's really interesting is, normally you get one or the other, right? So you get a phone which is focused on photography. And you get a phone which is focused on the gaming part of it. We believe that you should not have to choose. You get the best of both worlds, and we are doing exactly that on the Note 8 Pro. Now, the Note 8 Pro has a lot to talk about, but I'm going to limit it to 3 key things. That is the Aura design, a 64 megapixel quad camera array, and of course, it is a performance monster. The aura design part, and let's start into that. Now, aura design is something that we introduced with the Note 7 series. It fundamentally changed the design philosophy that we had on phones, and we are taking it a step forward. Now, aura design is not just how it looks. Design is also how easy it is to hold, the entire ergonomics, and while doing all of that, how do you retain the entire functionality? Now, with aura design, we are taking that to the next step, but first, let me show you how good this looks. So, introducing the first color of the all-new Redmi Note 8 Pro, and we are calling this color the Gamma Green. Looks absolutely stunning. Let's take another look at this. Now, this is an all-new color. We have never tried this, and if you look closely, the color on the back glass is matched with the frame. And these are two different materials. That means it took us almost 23 iterations to get this just perfect. And not just that, let's talk a bit more about the ergonomics bit here. Now, for the first time on the Redmi Note series, we are introducing an all-new four-sided curved rear glass. It's a huge step up from a 2.5D glass that you normally see. This makes it comfortable to hold either vertically or, of course, as the gamers would want it, even horizontally. So this is super comfortable to hold. Now, that is the Gamma Green. We've got one more color that all of you guys loved. And we've recently started experimenting with that. And that is the all-new Halo White. Now, this white, it's awesome the way it diffracts that light. It is unlike what you've seen before, but what we've also done is, as you saw, the Gamma Green had a green frame. In this case, the frame changes to a chrome because that fits in the best with this Halo White. And, of course, we have one more color, the classic, and perhaps Manu's favorite color of all times. Guesses? Yes, we have an all-new Shadow Black as well. Now, I'm calling this all-new because this is unlike any other black that you've seen. There's still a texture under that glass. The way it plays with the light is very different. And of course, I've been talking about glass. You guys want to know what glass it has? Of course, not really a surprise when it comes to Xiaomi. With Xiaomi, you are guaranteed to have the best possible quality, and that's not a different case here. You get Gorilla Glass 5 at the back as well as the front. And going beyond just the physical durability, we've taken it one step further. For the very first time on the Redmi Note series, we've got an IP52 rating. Now, this is a huge, huge deal. Now, this obviously protects you against dust and splashes, but the entire protection has been stepped up even further. This perhaps is the only phone in its segment to have this rating. Now, that is the design part of it. Moving to the front. Now, we've got an immersive display when it comes to aura design, and this one is again a step forward. In fact, when we look at the display, the biggest challenge that we had was the bottom chin. And the chin is normally a little wider at the bottom because the display driver actually sits right under the display. And that IC needs that space to be able to hold that part. With the Note 8 Pro, what we've done is we've moved this chip into the flex itself. Now, this is an expensive mechanism, and because of this, you're able to fold it right back, and that gives you a much, much smaller chin than ever before. Now, why is this important? Because we were looking at a performance monster, because we were focusing on the camera, we wanted a really immersive display, which also meant that the distractions on the side had to be minimal. What did we achieve by doing all of this? Well, proud to say that this has the highest screen to body ratio that we've ever seen in this segment at 91.4%. With just about 2 millimeters up top and 4 millimeters at the bottom, thanks to the chip-on film technology, we've taken it a whole new level. And the display obviously is more immersive, but it is also much more brighter than any Note before this. In fact, it is at 500 nits, our first HDR-enabled display on a Redmi Note. So whether you like to game in HDR or your favorite TV series or movies, you can enjoy them far better on the Note 8 Pro than anything else that you've seen in the segment before. So that summarizes the Aura design. What you had is a large 6.53-inch full high-definition display. It supports HDR. It's brighter than ever before. Of course, you've got all the quality assurances. You've got Gorilla Glass 5 at the front as well as the back, but it's a special one at the back because it's got a four-sided curvature, and it comes in these three awesome looking colors. Now that's the Aura design. Moving on to what some part of the audience was really looking forward to, which is the 64 MP quad camera. Yeah? So should we talk about it? Okay. Let's get into the 64 megapixel part first. And let me show you a slide that you probably would have never expected in a Xiaomi event before this. So, like I said, we obviously have the belief of innovation for all. Luckily, we found partners in the Samsung imaging division, which also held the same belief. They have worked with us over multiple sensors, providing high-resolution photography to consumers across different segments. And we've developed this. In fact, Xiaomi and Samsung in early August were the first to announce the sensor, and hence this became the first phone in the world to have a 64 megapixel sensor built in. Now this is obviously a giant step forward in photography. But what makes the 64 megapixel sensor really, really special are three technologies. There's superpixel technology, which means when the light is low, it's able to combine 4 adjacent pixels to create a much bigger pixel, which lets in a lot more light, and you get much brighter, clearer images, even in challenging lighting conditions. You've got a smart ISO. Now this intelligently detects the scene and ensures that your ISO levels are at a place where in any condition, your noise level is at the lowest. And this is obviously what we all want because we want clarity in that image. And the last one, which is a technological breakthrough, is the ISOCell Plus. Now, ISOCell Plus is special, and let me talk a bit more about this. Now, when you look inside the sensor, you've got 64 million pixels. Now, that's a lot to fit in, even though the sensor is much larger. In fact, it is 38% larger than a 48 megapixel camera sensor. But when you're packing in so much, you have different challenges. You have different imaging challenges, you have engineering challenges. So let's look at that. When you look at individual pixels, what started off about 6 to 7 years ago was a technology called BSI. Some of you would remember this, which basically ensured that it absorbed a lot more light and you got much better, much more usable images than what you could get on smartphones earlier. When the megapixel count started going up and you had more and more complex situations where you wanted to use this camera, it moved on to each cell being isolated. Now, what this helped with is the light which entered stayed within that cell, within that pixel. You didn't have too much of light bleed or color bleed, and it stayed there, which meant you got much more vibrant, better color reproduction, a little more accurate. But what was happening is right on top, if that light came in, it would get absorbed but would not really reach the sensor itself. We've obviously had to look at this because when you're packing in 64 million pixels into a sensor, you want every particle of light making it to the sensor. Also, the fact that it's so densely packed, you want that accuracy to stay. So for the first time ever, you've got ISO Cell Plus technology. This extends the isolation barrier right to the top, which lets in a lot more light, and that's why your entire camera is able to deliver much, much better images than ever before. And that's the magic of the ISO Cell Plus. Now, what does the 64 megapixel get you? And what does it mean for a consumer or a photographer? Well, you get images like this. Now, this is a shot of the city of Jaipur. It's an amazing city. Anyone from Rajasthan here? You'll have to. Okay. So this is Jaipur. What's really amazing about this is you can see each and every house in this image. In fact, not just that, when you look closer and when you zoom in, you can see every window, every door, the entire clarity being kept there. And this is definitely possible because of such a large sensor. But then, of course, you've heard of 64 MP cameras, and you've seen competition, or at least one particular model have a 64. So we thought we'll kind of compare to see where we land. Now this is a 64 megapixel camera on the Realme XT. And that one is a photograph that's been taken on the Redmi Note. Right? Do you guys like what you see so far? Let's go a little closer and see what's the difference. So when you look at the sign, you can clearly see that the sign is still readable. Now it's inside, it's indoors, and of course with light coming from the back, it becomes really hard. But here's the kicker. The photograph that you see on the right side is actually the Redmi Note 7 Pro. In fact, when you add the Redmi Note 8 Pro to this comparison, it's on a whole new level. Let me zoom in, and you can start seeing the difference. The colors, the details, everything is far, far superior. Now, some of you must be wondering that how can two 64s be so different? Well, the answer actually is a team that makes all the difference. And in fact, that's the team that has been tuning all our cameras for India. All of our cameras for the last 2 years. So 2 years ago, we set up this team. And this awesome team is our camera imaging team that sits out of our Bangalore office. And can we have a shout out for them actually? Over years, they've gone through thousands and thousands of images. They've been tuning our cameras for the scenarios that make sense in India, looking at our skin tones, and of course the color preferences that we have. And that's what starts making a difference. It's a marriage of hardware and software, and that's enabled by this awesome team. And they and their efforts result in amazing photographs like this one. Now you've seen what it can do. Let's also look at how it compares with devices that are priced a lot higher. Now here's a Oppo Reno 2 and a OnePlus 7 Pro. I know they're 48, but the prices are still quite high. So might as well compare that, right? Let me zoom in a bit and start showing you the difference. When you zoom in, the clarity on the Note 8 Pro and the entire accuracy of the colors and the way the light has been treated is far superior. And this is obviously in the day, but it's not limited to that. You see the superiority even when you go into a lower light scenario. So let me show you the same three devices, but when the light conditions are challenging. Now on the Note 8 Pro, not only is it more accurate, the exposure has been kept in check. It's not blown out like the Reno 2. And of course, the smart ISO kicks in with the sensor, so you do not see the kind of noise that you see on the OnePlus 7 Pro. And that's where the camera starts shining. And that is, in fact, just the 64 megapixel. I said we've got 4 cameras, so let me show you those 4 cameras. You've got a primary 64 megapixel sensor, and that sits right in the middle. But along with that, for the very first time on a Redmi Note series, we've added a wide angle. In fact, it's ultra wide at 120 degrees. Not just that, another first, and perhaps my favorite camera in this entire setup, is a macro lens. And macro lens is quite interesting because it lets you see things that your normal human eye cannot. You see a lot more details, and to see those, you want to get really, really close. And we've enabled a 2 centimeter focal distance, letting you go really close. It's perhaps the best in the industry, and you get that on the Note 8 Pro. Of course, the Note series, right from the Redmi Note 5 Pro, has been known for portraiture, and you get that with a depth sensor as well. And that completes the 4 cameras that you're getting on the Note 8 Pro. Let me show you what each of these cameras can do, and it's quite amazing. First, the wide angle. Now you take a picture, right? Now this picture could be anywhere in the world. And of course, if you have that kind of a distance, you can only capture this much space. But when you switch to an ultra-wide mode, you can complete the entire picture, and you can see that he's pointing at the Mehrangarh Fort in Jodhpur. And that's why an ultra-wide becomes super important. Now, of course, you guys are going to love this ultra-wide. But what you're going to love more is, of course, the macro lens. In fact, by a 2 centimeter focal distance, you can have some magical images. Images like this. What you can clearly see is each pollen inside a flower. You can go that close. Like I said, only we can go that close, so unfortunately others blur out. But what's even better than taking a macro still, a macro video? And with the Note 8 Pro, you can actually take a macro video. You can get super creative, and in fact, that's exactly what our camera team did. And let me show you a video that's been shot on the Note 8 Pro, and you can see the prowess of the macro lens here. Now we've got a 64 MP, we had ultra wide, we had a macro, and of course, let's not forget the importance of portraiture. Now, portrait mode also is enabled, of course, but because we've been doing this for so long, our team thought that let's try this out in a super challenging situation. So what they did was they set up this rig of different lights at different depths so that we can actually test how the bokeh works on the Note 8 Pro. And this is the result that you get. Now what you can see is the edge detection again becomes really tough because of the super reflective clothes that she's wearing, but the entire background being blurred beautifully as you go further away really makes this product shine. And that's, of course, the portrait part of it. Now, the next one that you get with camera, and something that we've introduced recently and people have loved, is the night mode. And with night mode, you can obviously see a lot more. It helps you in challenging light conditions. And let me show you an example. Now, this has been shot on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. You can see the entire bench. You can see the light falling and reflecting off that bench. You can see the leaves at the back. You can see the lights. And this obviously is challenging because the lights are actually coming in from the back. They're all over. And of course, you can see all the grass. Now, here's the best part. This is just the normal mode. When you turn on the night mode, the party completely changes. You're able to see more details on the trees, the lights, the entire light treatment in front, at the bench. Everything is different. You're going to love the night mode on this. And there's one more aspect of the camera, which we introduced on the Redmi K series, AI skyscaping. And AI skyscaping comes to the Redmi Note series for the very first time. And with AI skyscaping, of course, you can, at a click of a button, change the entire scenario. It changes the sky. It also, if you look at that, it changes the entire lighting of this town. Something that probably, if somebody knows Photoshop, is going to take a couple of hours to do. Right? We don't even have to think about it because it comes on the Redmi Note 8. So, these cameras are clearly made for the photographer. You have an ultra-wide lens. You have a 64 megapixel high-resolution sensor. You have a macro mode. You have a night mode, you have AI skyscaping, a portrait mode, you have 4K recording, and even up to 960 frames per second super slow motion video recording. So that is all about the camera, but just the back camera. We also have upgraded the front camera. The front moves from the 13 megapixel. So I clearly see one group which really loves selfies. Of course, with this 20 megapixel front camera, you get all of our AI enhancements, and you also get face unlock. We think with the Redmi Note 8 Pro, you get a flagship quad camera experience. And here's a video to sum it up. And that brings me to my favorite section, performance. Where my gamers at? PUBG wale hai kya? Is COD wale a thing yet? No? Okay. Performance. Now, what we realized at Xiaomi is something remarkable happened earlier last year. You started getting high resolution, high graphics, almost PC-like games onto smartphones for the very first time. And at that point, we realized that there was a bottleneck. Most of the mobile computing had been focused on the CPU part. GPU was there, but it was never that important. And in fact, that ended up being a bottleneck. We have worked very closely with the team at MediaTek to solve that. We are removing that bottleneck and giving equal importance to the GPU, perhaps a first in the segment, and you get incredible results. In fact, let me show you a couple of benchmarks first. Now, of course, you've got a couple of chipsets that are out there. You've got the Exynos 9611, you've got the Snapdragon 710, which a lot of brands have been using for almost a year and a half now, and the recent announcement of 712 chipsets. And even with 712, you get about 210,000 on Antutu. What's really interesting is, even after all of that, and even after almost 8 to 9 months of launching the Redmi Note 7 Pro, that still continues to beat all of them. Now, we already have a lead, so why do we need to change it? Well, we are Xiaomi, and we obviously believe in pushing it to the next level. So on the Redmi Note 8 Pro, you get a 34% bump in performance, taking it to the next level. At 280,000 plus score, there's nothing else in and around which can even come close. And this has been possible thanks to the Helio G90T chipset. And here's a fun fact. The G in the G90T stands for gaming. So we were that serious. Now, how does that happen? It has a very similar high-powered architecture that you see on more of the flagship devices. You've got 2 Cortex A76, and these are the performance cores. Along with that, you've got 6 Cortex A55 cores built for efficiency. And all of that drives a lot more power, a lot more performance. But not just that. Of course, we said we want to focus on graphics. It comes with a quad-core GPU clocked up to 800 megahertz. And this is what starts making a difference. How much difference? Well, again, if you're playing PUBG, you can go all the way to extreme. That is 60 frames per second on the smooth setting. And because this display supports HDR, when you have HDR enabled, you can go all the way to ultra. Now, on its own, these are super impressive, but how does it compare with the competition? Well, if you've got HDR enabled in graphics, the Note 8 Pro goes all the way to ultra. Competition doesn't even support it. Okay. Let's tone it down. HD. You still go to ultra, the others can only get to high. And when you go into smooth, you are going up all the way to extreme, others are still limited at ultra. And that's where it starts making a difference. That's where you're going to get that chicken dinner, and that is what you need. Of course, this has been a favorite, but we had a recent new announcement, and even on Call of Duty, you're able to hit very high across graphics and frame rate. In fact, I've been playing this. It's quite interesting, at least the frontline mode. I quite like that though. So now that's what you get across games, and of course you can try it across any particular game. This device just rips through any game that you put at it. And we've not forgotten people who like to multitask. It does that better too. In fact, to check out beyond gaming how fast this device is, we tested with 35 most popular apps available today, and let's show you the result directly.
Xiaomi.
So you can game better, you can work better, and of course, there's a lot of performance that's under the hood. So how do you keep it cool? Again, a first for the segment, perhaps the only phone in the world below $300 to offer liquid cooling inside the phone. And along with that, it is married, okay, sorry, you do get a lot of temperature reduction, and it's married to another copper plate which helps diffuse this heat. Now, why is all of this important? Because you will be gaming for longer on this awesome device, and when you're pushing the device to the limit, you need that thermal management. How well does this work? Well, we did a test across multiple scenarios, and perhaps let's just show you the result of that as well. So here's a thermal testing video that we did across various products, across various situations. Keep an eye out for the temperatures.
Xiaomi.
Now it's interesting that all of those games that are being played are at the same setting. Right? At the same setting, the Note 8 Pro with its liquid cooling is able to deliver much, much better results than anything out there. And we've got one new surprise for our gamers. For the first time ever on the Redmi Note series itself, we are introducing Wi-Fi X antenna. Now what happens? Let me explain this. When you're holding the phone and you're playing, all the antennas are normally around the frame. Yes? So when you're holding it, and suppose by any luck you made it to the top 10, now you're holding the phone even tighter. Now that's obviously going to block some Wi-Fi signal. The Note 8 Pro intelligently detects that and has a secondary Wi-Fi antenna and seamlessly moves that Wi-Fi connection to the Wi-Fi X antenna, so that when you really need it, you don't have any loss in the signal, and hence your overall latency also stays better. And this obviously is a very, very gaming focused feature, and hopefully all you gamers are going to absolutely love this. Now talking about gaming, yes, it's actually pretty cool, but yes. Now talking about gamers, here's a very, very hard decision that we had to make. Okay? We were thinking of what configuration we should have on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Now we're talking about gaming, and we're talking about this performance. Do we get a 4 GB variant and get the price lower? Or do we deliver what the gamers actually deserve and give them higher configurations? We decided on the latter. Your Note 8 Pro will only start at 6 GB DDR4X RAM. Now we understand that it is more expensive. Also the fact that it is using DDR4X clocked at 2133 MHz is going to bump up the price. But to really match that performance, this is something that we thought you absolutely needed. So there is no 4 GB variant on the Note 8 Pro. We will only start with 6. And not just the RAM. When it gets to storage, we are going to bump it all the way to 128 with UFS 2.1 storage speeds. So on storage, you will get two variants. You'll have 64 as well as 128. And there's one more thing. we changed something on the global units. So you would have heard about the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Also, this is the first time ever on the Redmi Note series, right from 2014 when we got started, we are introducing a dedicated micro SD card slot. Now, this is available only for us, for our Indian Mi fans, and it'll be only sold in India. Now, you put all your games in your UFS 2.1 storage and put all your media in the dedicated micro SD card slot, and you can still have dual SIM. Depends on where you need what data. So you don't have to choose anymore on the Note 8 Pro. Now you're going to do so much more with the Note 8 Pro. So we are also, I think from the first time since the Note 3, we are changing the battery size to a 4500 mAh. Now with this battery, you can go all the way, I think I jumped. You get a 2-day battery, and you also have 18-watt fast charging support that comes on the Note 8 Pro. And the charger comes in the box. So you have a large battery, you've got a fast charger in the box. Take as many photographs as you want, move them to the micro SD card, play as many games, you've got fast storage, and you've got a larger RAM. You get the best of everything. And to summarize this, let me show you a quick product video on the performance part. So the Note 8 Pro upgrades the country's best-selling series across all parameters. You get a 64 megapixel quad camera versus the 48+5 dual camera setup that we had. You get wide angle, you get a macro lens. Of course, not just that, you have a 34% improvement in pure performance. You have that covered with liquid cooling technology, so it stays cooler as well. You've got a larger battery, and you've got a faster charger built in the box itself. And we've also upgraded the design. You've got all new colors, as well as a 4-sided curved Gorilla Glass 5 back. Now, all of this is absolutely phenomenal. And let me summarize the Note 8 Pro for you. Now, but before I do that, we've got a very, very special guest with us today. Perhaps I will ask her to summarize the Note 8 Pro for you. Should we? Okay, here goes. Hopefully it works. There's a lot of noise here. Alexa, can we summarize the Redmi Note 8 Pro for everyone here?
Okay. Redmi Note 8 Pro comes with 64 megapixel. Wait, let me check that again. Oh yeah. 64 megapixel quad camera array with the addition of 120-degree ultra-wide and 2 cm macro for the first time on Redmi Note series. On the front, it gets an upgraded 20-megapixel AI selfie camera with class-leading edge detection for amazing portrait selfies. This also marks the India debut of Helio G90T, the flagship-level gaming chipset supported by liquid-cooled technology and super-fast UFS 2.1 storage. And the India variant comes with a dedicated micro SD. In addition to that, you get a large 6.53-inch ultra-bright HDR display and is backed by a massive 4500 mAh 2-day battery with 18-watt charger right out of the box to keep you going all day long. With durability additions of Corning Gorilla Glass 5 and P2I nano coating, you're protected against drops and spills. What am I missing? Oh yeah, for the very first time in India, I come built-in on your phone right out of the box. So that's the all-new Redmi Note 8 Pro for you. And to showcase all the possibilities that come with me, let me show you a quick video. Alexa, play the latest hits.
Alexa, turn down the lights. Alexa, add apple juice to the shopping list.
Alexa, mute TV.
Alexa, help us relax.
So yes, the Redmi Note 8 Pro is the first device in India to be built with Alexa right out of the box. And it's actually a deeper integration. We've been working very, very closely with the Alexa team to get you things that you've not really expected in a voice assistant. One really cool feature which should be rolling out in the coming weeks is the fact that you can control your TV right from the phone. How this works is amazing. When you tell Alexa that you want to change a channel, it talks to the Mi remote. The Mi remote will send a IR signal. Yes, it has an IR blaster right up top. And that will basically change the channel on the TV. And not just TV, you can control all the IR-enabled devices that are out there. The thousands and thousands which are supported with the Mi Remote app, all can be controlled right from your voice. And it's absolutely phenomenal. It's taking it to the next level. Not just that. Of course, with Alexa, you get a whole bunch of other features. For example, you can just ask for it to play a particular song that you like, and you don't really need any subscription to do that. Right? So you can enjoy that music. And with Alexa, you also have access to more than 30,000 different skills, whether it's educational skills, whether it's personal transportation, or even if it's food. Talking about food, who's hungry? Okay. Anyone likes pizza? Okay, so let me try a skill. Let me fire up the Domino's pizza skill. Okay, let's see if this works. Alexa, can you order pizza from Domino's?
How many pizzas?
How many people do we have today?
1,571.
Okay, 1,000.
Ordering 1,571 pizzas. Should I use the usual payment?
Okay.
Charging the default card named Manu Kumar Jain.
Okay, so I guess we have some time and hopefully they can deliver the pizzas. So to sum it all up, you get amazing bump in performance, you get amazing cameras, you have a bigger battery, you have faster charging, and also one of the first few devices in the world that support dual wake word. That means you can call upon Alexa as well as any other voice assistant, and both can respond to you at the same time. It's absolutely phenomenal. You're going to love this. And that brings me to the end of the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Here's an overall product video that summarizes what an awesome device this is. So that's the Redmi Note 8 Pro. But that's just part of the Redmi Note family. We have one more device. The classic Redmi Note has been a daily driver for millions and millions of Indians for the last 5 years. And today, we are also taking a huge leap forward with that particular product. And to talk more about the Redmi Note 8, I'd like to call upon Sumit, who leads our product marketing. Sumit.
Thank you. All right. A very amazing product, a groundbreaking product, right? I hope everyone liked the presentation. Okay, so few things which you need to note. One, you get a co-developed gaming chipset with liquid cooling engine thanks to our MediaTek friends over here. The second thing, and all you PUBG walas out here will absolutely love this, an HDR-enabled panel for the very first time on the Redmi Note series. You get Alexa for the very first time on any smartphone, and mind you, it's on any smartphone in India. But what's been my favorite feature has been the quad camera array and the possibilities which it brings for both you and me as consumers and smartphone enthusiasts. And that brings me to the point of Redmi Note 8. Now you know, Xiaomi's philosophy is innovation is for everyone. It is in our company's DNA, and we want to bring the quad camera array even to the Redmi Note 8. That's how Anuj likes to call it, the classic Redmi Note 8 also today gets upgraded to a quad camera experience. The vision has been to bring the quad camera experience to everyone out there. And that's why we are calling this device the quad camera, the 48 megapixel quad camera all-rounder. Thank you. Now, without wasting much time, let me quickly show you how the device looks like. Now, what you see here is the quad camera setup, which is absolutely led by the 48 megapixel primary sensor. Now, this carries 1.6 micron super pixel, which even gives you good, perfect images even in challenging lighting condition. This 48 megapixel sensor gets supported by the way, for the very first time, with an ultra-wide angle lens. And this carries a field of vision of 120 degrees, which allows you to go as wide as possible. But like I said, there are many new things which are coming with the Redmi Note 8 as well. For the very first time, we are also introducing the macro lens on the Redmi Note 8. Now, this takes you... Thank you. Now this takes you as close as 2 centimeters from the subject and reveals those intricate small details which you have not experienced through your naked eye. Now with Xiaomi, you have seen amazing portrait photography, so you get a 2 megapixel depth sensor on the back as well. Now let me quickly talk about the 48 megapixel high resolution sensor. Like Anuj spoke about, we have a local camera R&D team now fine-tuning this particular hardware. We launched this particular sensor a few months back, and you might have experienced this on the Redmi Note 7S. Now, because of further fine-tuning, what you can expect is to see every detail. This is a large half-inch sensor which reveals all those details which you have always expected. Now, let me quickly show you one sample. Do we have fans from the northeast part of this country? Give me a shout out, please. Thank you for coming. Okay, so this picture was clicked in Meghalaya. A very complicated image if you look from a camera perspective. What you will first notice are the multiple shades of green, multiple shades of green. The second thing which you will notice are the strands of grass which you see over here and over there. Right? Each and every individual strand of grass stands out perfectly. Taking your attention to these tires, these colored tires which are in the foreground, right? The color is absolutely captured. You see each and every detail shining through, making this picture an Instagram-worthy image, right? Let me quickly show you the second sample. Now this sample, while brilliant dynamic range, and dynamic range is given for this particular sensor. But what you should notice is the edge of these bricks, right? Each and every edge, and I hope everyone can see it from there, each and every edge on these brick walls is absolutely, absolutely clear. And that's what you can expect out of the 48 megapixel sensor which we are shipping with the Redmi Note 8. Now, like I said, this quad camera setup opens new possibilities for all of us out here. So, what you see over here is a high-resolution 48 megapixel sensor supported by an ultra-wide angle lens, first time on the Redmi Note 8 with a field of view of 120 degrees. You also get a macro camera or a macro lens which allows you to go as close as 2 centimeters from the subject, revealing some really cool details. Along with that, with a 2 megapixel depth sensor, you get the portrait mode. We have also built in a dedicated night mode with the help of the super pixel, which I was just talking about, to give you those amazing detailed low light shots. And the camera can also do 4K video recording and slow motion videos. Now, this brings me to the second talking point. Now, when we introduced the Redmi Note series, everyone spoke about how functional the design is. Everyone liked the functional design. But earlier this year, when we were working on the Redmi Note 7 series, we reworked the entire design philosophy. And we introduced something which we like to call as the Aura design philosophy. Now, if you look at Aura design, it's an amalgamation of 3 things. Let me quickly explain. Number 1, your device has to look beautiful. It has to match your lifestyle. It has to match your personality. Number 2, it has to be an immersive experience. And number 3, the design has to be functional in nature. And that brings me to the point. We are changing that all over again once more. And that's why we are calling it the Aura Fluid design. Now, let me show you how the device looks like. Introducing the first color. We are calling it the Neptune Blue. And what you would have noticed already is the S curve which you see on the back. Now, whenever the phone comes in touch with direct light, you see this S curve coming up and produces some amazing holographic design on the back. Let me show you my personal favorite color, which is this. We are also introducing Moonlight White on the Redmi Note 8. And what's amazing about this device is that on this back panel, there are nanostructures embedded, right? Now, when the nanostructures come in contact with direct light, what you experience is optical diffraction. And when you see that optical diffraction, and I would love that each one of you can go into the media experience zone and the fan experience zone and check out the device yourself. It looks absolutely mesmerizing. But we know that our users are young, our users want more, right? So that's why we are also introducing a brand new color, a bold new color, which we are calling Cosmic Purple. Thank you. And for those who love to stick to the classics, that boardroom look, we obviously have the space black. Here are all the colors, all the newly launched colors in a single frame. And I would like to take a moment and talk to our fans. Guys, me fans, which one is your favorite color? Raise your hands if you love the Moonlight White. Okay. Who are the guys who love the brand new Cosmic Purple? Okay. Who is in the favor of the Neptune Blue? Manu, I think we need to raise the volumes for the white one. Okay, cool guys. Quickly moving on. Now, I said that design has to be immersive. Design has to take you with it, right? And with that, what we wanted to do is, see, the thing is that you spend the maximum amount of time on the display, right? Now, when you see the display, what we have done this time, we have re-engineered the display panel itself. Now, by reducing the bottom chin and the top bezel, what we have been able to achieve is a whopping 90% screen-to-body ratio on the Redmi Note 8. Talking more about the display, this is a 6.3-inch full high-definition display. Mind you, there are competition products who are shipping out a high-definition display in this particular segment. At the same time, this ships out with a whopping 90% screen-to-body aspect ratio, and the brightness has been pumped up to 450 nits, considering we know that you will use this device for gaming and for video consumption. And brightness is something which is critical when it comes to immersive experience. So we are making that 450 nits. With that, you get sunlight mode, you get reading mode, and we have been so confident of the reading mode that we went to TUV to certify this for us. And this is a TUV certified reading mode, which you find here. Talking more about the device, what makes the Note noteworthy is the performance, right? So with that, what we are doing is we are also upgrading the processor on the Redmi Note 8 to Qualcomm's Snapdragon 665. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 665, and considering we have been playing with a lot of SoCs in the recent past, we at Xiaomi have come to believe that Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 is one of the most balanced chipsets when it comes to performance and battery efficiency. Now, this particular processor is based on 11 nanometer FinFET technology, which obviously gives you that amazing battery life. But at the same time, it carries with it Qualcomm Adreno 610. Now, 610 is a powerful GPU which basically takes care of all your day-to-day games, whether it be PUBG or the newly launched Call of Duty Mobile. It can run it in a breeze. Now, talking about the AI engine, it carries the Qualcomm third generation AI engine, and you can see that AI computing power becoming much and much stronger on your device when it comes to the cameras and the AI tools. But I said that we know who our users are. We have been in India for the last 5 years, and we understand how these devices are getting used. Now, gaming, and we know that gaming is going to be a part of your lifestyle of all the users out here. So we heard you. We went back to the drawing board to rework that. And to ensure what we are doing for the very first time is that we are going to ship up to 6 GB of RAM even on the Redmi Note 8. Now, I've been talking to a few Mi fans earlier this morning, thanks to Rohit, thanks to Gitansh, and what they told me that, Sumit, more and more the games are getting heavier, right? They take up a lot of space on our phones. With that, and they were basically giving me an example that PUBG Mobile almost takes 2.1 GB on your storage, right? So we wanted to tackle that particular issue as well. And by the way, for the very first time, we are also shipping out up to 128 GB of internal storage on the Redmi Note 8. Now, one consistent ask from all our Mi fans, and I was here on this particular stage during the Redmi Note 7 launch as well. One consistent ask was the ask for a dedicated micro SD card. Right? And why should Pro have all the fun, right? So, extending a dedicated micro SD card slot for the very first time, even on the Redmi Note 8. And you can expand this up to 512 GB. Now, with so much of performance, so dense performance coming right onto your device, what about the battery, right? Battery is something which is very critical, right? So, with the Redmi Note 8, you get a 4000 milliampere battery, which continues to deliver, and absolutely thanks to the new 11 nanometer process of the Snapdragon 665, it delivers that 2-day battery life, which you have expected always from a Redmi Note device. At the same time, when it comes to charging, right? Once you drain this battery out by playing PUBG for those long hours, what do you do about the charging? So, it's not just limited to the Redmi Note 8 Pro. We are also extending 18-watt fast charging on this device. But me fans, there was one more question you asked. There was one more thing which you wanted. What was that? Help me out. It's there. So, 18-watt fast charging support, 18-watt fast charger in the box. And Pro should not have all the fun, by the way. Moving on, and this is where I need to get a little serious because our head of quality, Mr. Ram, is going to kill me. Okay, talking about quality, right? And you know, quality is one of the most important pillars of Xiaomi Global and Xiaomi India. And we have been committed to this particular cause for a very, very long time. Now, you know that whenever we ship out a device and whenever the device reaches out to you, that device has been quality checked multiple times, right? And we wanted to go a little more ahead when it comes to quality. So we have been working with our partners, and obviously you know them. It's Corning, and we have been extending Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on this device as well. But we have gone one step ahead. What we have done this time is we have done the polishing on the glass edges, right? Now, whenever you drop a device, the first thing which gets impacted is the edge. Right? Now, when you polish that particular edge, you basically do two things. Number one, you increase the structural integrity of that particular glass, right? And by doing that, what you can achieve is basically improve durability and overall increase in the lifespan. Now, this might be small, but this is something which is very important when it comes to the overall durability of the device. The second thing, and you might know this already, but all the corners are reinforced corners, right? And whenever you drop a device accidentally, right? Please do not drop your devices. Whenever you drop your device accidentally, the impact is basically taken by the corners and it is not passed on to the entire device, which basically protects your device in the long run. We are also extending P2I nano coating support on this device as well, and this basically makes the device splash proof. Now, let me quickly summarize all these things, all these amazing things which I just spoke to you about. What you get is an amazing 90% screen-to-body ratio on the Redmi Note 8. With that, we also see that happening because of the reduced bezel size. It is built to last. With this, what you get is Corning Gorilla Glass 5, not just on the front, but also on the back. And we have been very vocal about this particular thought that glass is important. Glass makes your device look much more premium. This also comes with P2I's patented nano coating, which makes your device splash resistant. And at the same time, minor thing, but important. What we have done, all the open ports have a rubber gasket built right inside it. Now, because of that rubber gasket, it does not allow any water or moisture to seep inside, thus basically protecting your device in the longer run. We are also introducing the Aura Fluid design for the very first time. 4 colors, we know your preferences, and we will work accordingly. Coming to the bottom of the device, what you see is a Type-C port. Also, what you find over there is the 3.5mm headphone jack. And come to think of it, you guys love this particular feature, right? The Mi IR remote. Now, I know there are many fans who play around with this Mi IR remote to switch off their college campus TVs, ACs, and so on. Right? Okay. Now, acoustics, and talking more about acoustics, right? Whenever you work on a device, it has to be in and out, right? So we have been working with the acoustics department, and acoustics is a personal preference. Acoustics are something which we have been spending a lot of time upon, right? Now, India is a loud country. I'm kind of proud of that. And whenever you get into metros, buses, or even today, even in the flights, it sometimes gets very, very noisy. Right? And there are sometimes those moments where you are not able to hear the other person. Then what do? right? So what we did, we took the consumer feedback. This feedback came from our largest Me community, and I'm thankful to you guys for giving us such minute feedback which can actually improve the overall experience of the device. Now what we did, we increased the overall volume output of the earpiece as well, right? Now there are not those moments where you are unable to hear what the other person is saying. But not just the earpiece. What we also did, we also built a small acoustic chamber right inside your phone. Now with this acoustic chamber, we paired it with a 1217 super linear speaker. Now these are very small speakers, right? Now you know sound is a play of vacuum. Sound is a play of space, right? So you get a larger chamber, a larger acoustic chamber, you get a super linear speaker, and in addition to that, we power amplified it, right? Now, because of all these things coming together, what you hear is a much louder audio output at zero or no distortion, all thanks to the power amplifier which you have built right within. At the same time, we did something very, very interesting. And by the way, nobody has thought about it, nobody has done anything about this. Now, considering the country which we live in, where dust and debris is a part of our everyday living, Manu spoke about the air pollution and how we are tackling that. We wanted to tackle that particular issue when dust and debris gets accumulated within your phone. Now, without telling you anything more about it, let me show you a video. Okay, do you know what this is? Okay, let me quickly explain. What we are doing for the very first time in the Indian smartphone industry is we are shipping out auto cleaning speaker. Okay, what this essentially means that we have produced a low frequency sound of 800 hertz. Now this is a patented sound. You can also patent a sound, by the way. Because of this frequency, a gush of air is produced within the speaker chamber. Now, with this gush of air, any dust or any debris which has accumulated within your phone over prolonged usage will get pushed out completely. Now, this is important, right? This is understanding of the market where we live, where we work. Okay, now, thank you guys. Now, you might ask how powerful this gush of wind is, right? How powerful is it? Now, so what our team did in Bangalore, we did a quick video to showcase how powerful this gush of air is. Let's take a quick look. Now, that gush of air, when produces that particular force, is strong enough to blow a candle, right? Interesting. Okay, now I said that this device is a 48 megapixel quad camera all-rounder. Our love for long hashtags, by the way. Okay, so it brings me to this particular slide. What you can expect is a 2-day output from the batteries which we are shipping. You get a 4000 milliampere battery. Along with that, we are also, for the very first time, shipping an 18-watt charger right in the box. With that, it becomes an all-around performer, right? You get an upgraded Snapdragon 665. You get up to 6 GB of RAM. We have never done this. We are understanding the market. We are making those tweaks accordingly. We are shipping up to 6 GB of RAM on this one. We are shipping up to 128 GB of storage. We heard you. We got your feedback, and that's why we have now a dedicated micro SD card slot on the Redmi Note 8, which you can push up to 512 GB. Along with that, you can also experience amazing audio. Obviously, we are not removing the 3.5mm jack, I just showed it to you. But at the same time, you have super linear speaker, you have a larger acoustic chamber, and for the very first time, you have the auto cleaning speaker. So that brings me to the summary of the Redmi Note 8. We are calling Redmi Note 8 as the 48 megapixel quad all-rounder. What you can expect out of this device is a 48 megapixel quad camera array and the introduction of an ultra wide angle lens and a macro lens for the very first time. On the front, and all you selfie lovers out here, you get a 13 megapixel high resolution camera on the front. Along with that, in terms of durability, you get Corning's Gorilla Glass 5, not just on the front, but also on the back. This is a large real estate. You get a high definition, a full high definition display, a 6.3-inch display. You can expect 2-day usage, a prolonged 2-day usage with a 4000 mAh battery and 18-watt charger in the box. Thanks to our friends at P2i, this essentially is a splash-proof design. With that, we are also upgrading the processor to Snapdragon 665 and a much improved audio experience. Now, I would like to take a moment and I would like to talk to you about the predecessor, which was the Redmi Note 7S and the Redmi Note 8, and what are the differences. So, for all of you guys here, we have this particular slide. Like I said, we are moving from a dual camera setup to a quad camera setup, absolutely opening new possibilities for all the smartphone photography enthusiasts out there. We never had a macro lens, we are shipping out a macro lens. We never had an ultra-wide angle camera, we are shipping out an ultra-wide along with this. We heard you, we heard your requirement, and we are shipping out an 18-watt fast charging support and the charger in the box. The processor gets an upgrade to Snapdragon 665. Even because of the re-engineered display panel, what you expect is a 90% screen-to-body ratio. By the way, this one, the Redmi Note 7S, was 86.11. You also have a larger acoustic chamber built within your phone, and you get that 4000 milliampere battery promising 2-day battery life. You get that Type-C charging port, Gorilla Glass 5, splash protection by P2i. So a lot many things have changed, a lot many things have become even more impressive. Now, to summarize all what I said, let me show you a quick video and then call Manu on the stage to talk about the pricing of these amazing devices.
Okay. So guys, first of all, a big round of applause for Sumit. This was his first big launch event. I think he did a fabulous job. Okay, now for the toughest and the most interesting part, which is the price. Right? They always give me this very, very tough part. So let's quickly jump into it. This is some of the competition devices of Redmi Note 8. We have Samsung M30s and Realme 5. And you can see on a large number of parameters, Redmi Note 8 clearly stands out. This is a full HD screen. Realme 5 is HD. This is the only one to have Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the front, while others have either no Corning Gorilla Glass or Gorilla Glass 3. It is also the only phone with Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on the back, while others have plastic back. This is the 48 megapixel quad camera setup. M30s has a 48 megapixel triple camera, while Realme 5 has 12 megapixel quad camera. And this is the only one which has Type-C with 18-watt fast charge. So a really, really great device. Now, the predecessor, which was Redmi Note 7S, was launched in two different variants, 3GB, 32GB, and 4GB, 64GB. And as Anuj mentioned, we decided to let go of 3GB, 32GB variant. And this was a very, very tough decision for us because a lot of people internally felt maybe we should do 3GB, 32GB to keep price low and keep it below a certain level. But we said in today's world, the minimum that our Mi fans expect from us is a 4GB, 64GB variant for our Note series. So yes, for the first time ever, we are starting with only 4GB, 64GB. It was a tough decision, but we said instead of launching a low price variant, we would reduce the price of 4GB, 64GB. So this is being launched at 9,999 only. Redmi Note 8 4GB, 64GB at less than 10,000 rupees. And then we have the higher end variant, which is the 6GB, 128GB, which is being launched at 12,999 only. So this makes Redmi Note 8 not only one of the most affordable, accessible 48 megapixel quad camera phones, but also probably one of the lowest priced 4GB, 64GB phones and lowest priced 6GB, 128GB phones. So that's the Redmi Note 8. Then we have Redmi Note 8 Pro, a lot of industry first. By the way, this was the world's first phone to be launched with 64 megapixel camera. This has India's first phone to be launched with Alexa built-in. This is the world's first phone to be launched with G90T processor with an amazingly incredible Antutu score, Corning Gorilla Glass 5 on front and back, and a really, really great battery support with 18-watt fast charging. So Redmi Note 8 Pro, again, the competition for that, we believe, are some of these devices such as Vivo V15, Vivo V17 Pro and Realme XT. Now, significantly better processor, much higher Antutu score. This is the only phone with a huge 4,500 mAh battery. This is the only phone which has features such as Wi-Fi X antenna, and it has a liquid cooling technology. And again, a very tough decision. Should we launch a 4GB, 64GB variant to keep the price low? We said no. We will start with only 6GB, 64GB because this is the minimum that our pro users demand from us. And we said this 6GB, 64GB should be launched at only 14,999. And then we have 6GB, 128GB at 15,999. And for Ultra Pro users, we have 8GB, 128GB at 17,999. So that's the ultimate beast, Redmi Note 8 Pro for you guys. A lot of industry first with G90T, first with Alexa built-in, world's first 64 megapixel, and a lot more, starting at less than 15,000 rupees. Now, can you buy? Thank you so much, guys. So where can you buy these two incredible phones? Thank you. They will be available starting next week on Monday, 21st of October. Both of them together across Mi.com, our partner platform, Amazon, and Mi Home stores, and soon available across all our thousands of offline stores. And we also have a special offer from our partner Airtel, where if you use Airtel SIM on Redmi Note or 8 Pro, Note 8 or Note 8 Pro, you get double the data. So with this, we complete our entire Redmi 8 series. We had Redmi 8A, Redmi 8, Redmi Note 8, and Redmi Note 8 Pro. And each of these devices have changed a lot of things and have really pushed the boundary or the envelope for technology. Let me share some of these examples. Now, Gorilla Glass 5 comes on all these devices, starting from Redmi 8A to Redmi 8, Redmi Note 8, Redmi Note 8 Pro. There is no other company. You saw even at 10, 15,000 rupee, people either do not use a Gorilla Glass or use a Gorilla Glass 3. And we are providing a Gorilla Glass 5 starting at such a low price. We have Type-C for all these phones. We have 18-watt fast charging support on all of them, with 18-watt fast charger coming in Redmi Note 8 and 8 Pro. All of them come with P2I splash proof, and all of them have a great camera. Sony IMX363 on Redmi 8A and 8, and a 48 megapixel quad camera and 64 megapixel quad camera on Note 8 and Note 8 Pro. And of course, we are moving the RAM-ROM configuration to a very different level. Redmi 8 is 4GB, 64GB. Again, Redmi Note 8 4GB, 64GB is the lowest one, and 6GB, 64GB for Redmi Note 8 Pro. So with this, we conclude the key products that we have launched today, 4 of them, which is the Mi Air Purifier 2C, MIUI 11, Redmi Note 8, and Redmi Note 8 Pro. Now, there's a special announcement. We have fans who have come from across the country, have taken the pain to join us, and some of them traveled from across. So we have few special things for you apart from the pizza, which hopefully should have arrived by now. I hope Alexa ordered that pizza. But apart from that, we are also offering to all our Mi fans who are present in this hall one Mi casual backpack. And not just that, you guys gave us 99 rupees each. So we are multiplying it by 10x, giving back a voucher worth 999 rupees to all of you guys. Really appreciate all of you guys taking out time to join us. So thank you so much, everybody. Let's have a quick photo op. I would like to call back on stage all the speakers.
something interesting. We added clock styles to make that phone look a little bit exciting. With MIUI 11, we're taking that one step further. We are adding a nice, beautiful, animated, dynamic clock on your lock screen with MIUI 11. But that's not all. We said there's perhaps more that we can do. And for that, we dug deep into our childhood for inspiration. Remember these? The kaleidoscopes? We took exactly this for inspiration and we put this wonderful, beautiful, symmetric patterns onto your lock screen, and it actually makes it blossom and it looks beautiful. And you can customize this and have multiple patterns adorning your lock screen. But there are those who wanted even more personalized. We said, sure, let's satisfy them too. With MIUI 11, you can add your own custom code, your motivational message.